Hello, today's video is an answer to one of your questions. So the question was whether it is possible to survive in Switzerland if one does not speak German or Italian. So before I answer your question, I think you should be knowing some facts which will be useful for you to decide which language you would like to learn when you're planning to come to Switzerland for your studies, I presume. So first of all, Switzerland has four official languages, which is German, French, Italian, and Romansh. And Switzerland is divided into several cantons, and these cantons could be considered as states. So, like for instance, in Zurich, it's coming under Zurich canton. So, what one needs to know is that when you say German, people in Germany they speak High German, but here in Switzerland people speak Swiss German, and Swiss German is very different from High German. So, for instance, if you're planning to come to University of Zurich or ETH, which is based in Zurich, then you will be receiving your official documents in High German, but people here speak Swiss German. So, in order to learn Swiss German, one has to first begin with High German because that's basically like the beginning level for us, let's say for an Indian student, right? So you need to first know the basics of High German, and then subsequently, once you know the High German quite well, then you can learn Swiss German. And there are several things that I would like to include to answer your question, which I have learned based on my experience. So let me just quickly get on to them. My first line of thought would be, if you are first of all a student, then you need to think at which level of studies are you planning to come to Switzerland. So are you coming here for your bachelor's, for your master's degree, or for your PhD? If you're coming in here for your bachelor's degree, then I think you should know High German at least. And if you're coming in here for masters, then I would say it's possible to survive here without knowing High German as well. Because, for instance, in Zurich, most of the people are quite fluent in English, and people in Switzerland are mostly multilingual. So it's quite easy. And also with masters, is that many international students join these masters program, so it's possible to survive without knowing the local language. However, it's important to understand that if you learn German and then come to the French speaking part of Switzerland, then that might not be helpful for you, right? So you need to know which part of Switzerland you're planning to come to, and then you need to understand based on that which language will be relevant for you. Now let's come to the level of a PhD. When it comes to a PhD, this is more tricky because as a PhD student, you don't have a very structured program. Like universities do have some guidelines for you, like teaching duties and some courses that you should attend. But a PhD is very different from studying your bachelor's or studying your master's. So the things that I would consider if I'm coming as a PhD to Switzerland would be question number one. So how international is the environment in the lab that you're planning to join? So what happens is that if the lab that you're planning to join is mostly consisting of people from Europe, specifically if like regions around Switzerland, then it will be a bit hard for you to integrate, right? However, if you choose a lab which has quite an international number of people, so people coming in from, like, let's say China, from Japan, from other European countries, such as, like, let's say the Nordics, where people are not speaking High German, then it will be easy for you. However, if your lab is such that most of the people speak German, then it might happen that they would somehow talk in their local language, and then you might feel left out. So this is something that one could consider if you're planning to come in here for your PhD. Another point to consider is that what sort of research you will be involved with. The second point is that you should be knowing what sort of research you will be involved with. So, if you're involved with rodent studies, then I would say that speaking High German to an extent should be sufficient, like to thrive in the environment, but you don't have to know the language. However, if you're in a clinical setting and you would like to work with human participants, let's say some patients, some sort of patients like dementia patients, or you want to work with Parkinson's patients, or you want to work with schizophrenia patients, then I guess you have to know the language. But it is possible sometimes that you could get a research assistant or master student who could assist you in this, but you would have to know the language to a certain extent because you can't completely depend on them. So, my overall suggestion would be that it depends on your situation. First of all, consider, I would like to now summarize everything. Consider at which level of study are you planning to come to Switzerland. Consider how long you're planning to stay in Switzerland and what are your long term plans. And then consider which part of Switzerland you're planning to come to. And based on that, you need to decide which language you should be learning. And then really consider to which lab you will be joining, because this would be a big deciding factor in deciding for yourself, whether you would want to learn the language or not. So, all in all, I would like to say that it's a very welcoming country in the fact that once you get the entry here, people are really nice and helpful. And I've had really amazing experiences with people here. Just the locals, they have been so nice, especially if you know the language. And I would like to say that if you learn the language, then it's nice for you to explore the country more, to explore the countryside, and to integrate and learn more about their culture, because everybody appreciates if you could speak their language. So that's my answer to your question, and I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions on life in Switzerland, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you. Bye for now.